The stale air hung heavy with the smell of frying oil and cheap coffee, a fitting aroma for my less-than-stellar graduation celebration. I sat hunched in a cracked vinyl booth at Rosie's Diner, a greasy spoon just off Route 66 in dusty Winslow, Arizona, outside the desert sun beat down on the asphalt, baking the town in a dry, oppressive heat. Inside, the air conditioning wheezed like a dying man, offering little respite. My graduation gown, still folded neatly in its plastic bag, sat beside me like a silent reproach I hadn't even bothered to put it on. What was the point? There was no one here to see it. No proud parents, no cheering siblings, no flash of cameras capturing the moment. Just me, a half-eaten plate of lukewarm fries, and the gnawing emptiness in my stomach that had nothing to do with hunger. Today was supposed to be a triumph. Sarah Jenkins, small-town girl from a broken home, was graduating high school as valedictorian. I'd clawed my way to the top, juggling a part-time job at the local gas station with a demanding academic schedule fueled by a burning desire to escape this dead-end town and make something of myself. I'd imagined this day 1,000 times, walking across that stage, receiving my diploma, feeling the weight of my accomplishment settle on my shoulders like a warm embrace. I'd pictured my grandma beaming with pride, her eyes shining with unshed tears. She was the only family I had left. The one person who'd believed in me, who'd pushed me to keep going when I wanted to give up, but Grandma was gone. She'd passed away 2 months ago, taking my dreams and my future with her. The scholarship I'd been counting on, the one that would have paved my way to a brighter future at Arizona State University, was now out of reach. Without Grandma, there was no one to co-sign the loan, no one to help me navigate the complicated world of financial aid. My graduation felt less like a victory and more like a surrender. A surrender to the harsh realities of my life, to the limitations of my circumstances. I picked at a stray fry, the salty taste doing little to comfort me. The diner was mostly empty, save for a couple of truckers nursing cups of coffee and a lone elderly woman hunched over a crossword puzzle. They were all engrossed in their own worlds, oblivious to the quiet despair radiating from my corner booth. I glanced at the clock on the wall. The graduation ceremony had ended hours ago. The other graduates were probably celebrating with their families, their laughter echoing in the warm evening air. I imagined their joyful gatherings, the clinking of glasses, the warm embraces, the shared stories of triumph and hope. The image stung a sharp reminder of everything I didn't have. A shadow fell across my table. I looked up, startled. It was Mr. Henderson, the school janitor. He was a quiet, unassuming man, always seen but rarely heard. He held a crumpled paper napkin in his hand. He shuffled his feet awkwardly, his gaze fixed on the dusty floor. "Sarah?" He mumbled, his voice raspy from years of inhaling cleaning chemicals. "I saw you sitting here alone." I swallowed the lump in my throat, forcing a smile. "Hi, Mr. Henderson." He cleared his throat, extending the napkin towards me. "Someone left this on your chair at the ceremony. I figured you might want it." My heart skipped a beat. Someone had actually remembered. I took the napkin hesitantly, my fingers trembling slightly. Unfolding it carefully, I saw a single perfect sunflower, pressed and dried, its yellow petals faded but still vibrant. Beneath it, written in a familiar, spidery script, were 3 words: "Proud of you." Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision. It was Grandma's handwriting, but how? Mr. Henderson shifted his weight again, his eyes finally meeting mine. "Your grandma. She asked me to put it there, weeks ago before, you know." His voice cracked slightly. "She was so proud of you. Sarah, she wanted you to know." A wave of emotion washed over me, grief mingling with a strange sense of comfort. Grandma had planned this, even knowing she wouldn't be there to see it. She'd found a way to be present, to remind me of her unwavering love and support. I clutched the sunflower tightly, the dried petals crumbling slightly in my grip. It was more precious than any diploma, any scholarship, any grand celebration. It was a tangible reminder of Grandma's love, a beacon of hope in the darkness. She also left this, Mr. Henderson said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small worn book. It was Grandma's journal. Its cover faded and cracked with age. She wanted you to have it, said it held all her hopes and dreams for you. I took the journal reverently, my fingers tracing the familiar inscription on the cover. My throat tightened with emotion. This was more than just a journal. It was a legacy, a testament to Grandma's enduring faith in me. Mr. Henderson lingered for a moment, then nodded awkwardly. Well, he mumbled, I should get back to work. He turned to leave, then paused, looking back at me over his shoulder. You know, Sarah, he said softly, your grandma wasn't the only one proud of you. We all are. He shuffled away, leaving me alone with my sunflower, my journal, and a newfound sense of purpose. The emptiness in my stomach was gone, replaced by a quiet strength, a renewed determination. Grandma may be gone, but her love, her belief in me remained. And that was enough. I opened the journal, my fingers turning the brittle pages carefully. The first entry was dated a few weeks before Grandma's passing. My dearest Sarah, it began, I may not be there to see you walk across that stage, but I want you to know how incredibly proud I am of you. You are strong, you are resilient, and you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Don't let anything hold you back. Chase your dreams, my girl, and never forget how much I love you. Tears streamed down my face, hot and cleansing. The diner, the fries, the loneliness, it all faded away, replaced by the warmth of Grandma's love, the unwavering belief in my potential. I wasn't alone. I had Grandma's legacy, her love, and the quiet support of a kind old janitor. And that I realized was more than enough to start a new chapter, to forge a new path, to chase my dreams wherever they might lead. I wasn't just a small-town girl from a broken home. I was Sarah Jenkins, valedictorian, and I had a future to build. The diner's bell jingled merrily, a cheerful sound that grated on my raw nerves. I glanced up from Grandma's journal, wiping away the lingering traces of tears. A tall, imposing figure stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the harsh desert sun. It was Principal Miller, his face creased with a concern that seemed out of place in his usually stern demeanor. He spotted me in the corner booth and made his way over his polished shoes, clicking against the linoleum floor. He hesitated for a moment, as if unsure how to approach me. Sarah, he said finally, his voice softer than I'd ever heard it. I was wondering where you were. The reception... I shrugged, my throat tightening again. Not really my scene. The thought of celebrating with the other graduates and their families felt unbearable. A painful reminder of everything I'd lost. Principal Miller slid into the booth across from me, his presence filling the small space. He looked at the journal in my hands, then at the pressed sunflower lying beside it. He didn't say anything, but his silence felt comforting, not judgmental. My grandma, I began, then stopped, unsure how to explain the complex mix of grief and gratitude swirling inside me. Mr. Henderson told me. Principal Miller said softly, about your grandma, about the sunflower. He paused, his gaze meeting mine. I'm so sorry for your loss, Sarah. His words, simple and sincere, unleashed a fresh wave of tears. I quickly blinked them away, embarrassed by my sudden display of emotion. It's hard. I managed to choke out. Everything feels different now. I understand, he said, his voice full of compassion. Your grandma was a remarkable woman. She spoke of you often, always with such pride. I looked down at the journal again, tracing the outline of Grandma's handwriting. She believed in me, I whispered, even when I didn't believe in myself. Principal Miller nodded. She saw your potential, Sarah. She knew you were destined for great things. He paused, then added softly, and so do I. His words caught me off guard. Principal Miller wasn't known for his sentimental pronouncements. He was a man of few words, a strict disciplinarian who ran Winslow High with an iron fist. His unexpected display of empathy felt both strange and comforting. He reached across the table, his hand resting lightly on mine. Your grandma may be gone, he said, his voice firm but gentle, but that doesn't mean your dreams have to die with her. He paused, his gaze holding mine. Don't give up on yourself, Sarah. Don't let her down. His words resonated deep within me, rekindling a flicker of hope that I thought had been extinguished forever. He was right. I couldn't give up. I owed it to Grandma, to myself, to keep fighting, to keep striving for the future she'd envisioned for me. He squeezed my hand gently, then withdrew it. There's something else, he said, his voice regaining some of its usual briskness. A letter arrived for you this morning from ASU. My heart leaped into my throat. ASU, but how? He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a thick envelope bearing the university's logo. He handed it to me, his eyes twinkling slightly. I think you might want to read this, he said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. My fingers fumbled with the envelope, tearing it open clumsily. Inside was a letter formally addressed to Miss Sarah Jenkins. I unfolded it, my hands shaking so badly I could barely read the words. My breath caught in my throat as I scanned the letter. It was an official notification of acceptance into Arizona State University, along with a full scholarship covering tuition fees and even living expenses. Disbelief warred with a surge of overwhelming joy. It was impossible, a miracle. But how? I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. The scholarship. I didn't. Principal Miller smiled, a genuine warm smile that transformed his usually stern features. Your grandma, he explained, she was a force of nature. Weeks before she passed, she came to me determined to secure your future. She told me about your dreams, about your financial struggles. She pleaded with me to help you find a way. He paused, his gaze distant, as if recalling the memory. She was relentless, Sarah. She wouldn't take no for an answer. She contacted alumni, local businesses, even the university president. She moved mountains for you. Tears streamed down my face again, but this time they were tears of pure, unadulterated joy. Grandma, even in her final days, had been working tirelessly to make my dreams a reality. She'd orchestrated this miracle, this incredible gift from beyond the grave. The scholarship. Principal Miller continued. It's in her name, the Sarah Jenkins Memorial Scholarship, funded by a combination of donations and university funds. Your grandma's legacy will live on. Sarah inspiring future generations of students from Winslow High. I couldn't speak, my throat choked with emotion. I looked down at the letter again, the words blurring through my tears. It was real. It was happening. I was going to ASU. Grandma's dream for me was coming true. Principal Miller reached across the table again, his hand resting on mine. Your grandma believed in you, Sarah, he said softly, and so do I. Don't waste this opportunity. Make her proud. I nodded, my heart swelling with a mix of grief, gratitude, and a fierce determination. I would make her proud. I would honor her memory by embracing this gift, by chasing my dreams with every ounce of strength I possessed. I would make Grandma's legacy and Principal Miller's faith in me count for something. I would not let them down. I looked out the diner window at the dusty landscape of Winslow, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. For the first time, the town didn't feel like a cage, but a launching pad. A place where dreams, however improbable, could take flight. And I, Sarah Jenkins, small-town girl with a big heart and a bigger dream, was ready to soar. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Packing, saying goodbye to the few friends I had in Winslow, and preparing for the monumental shift from small-town life to the bustling campus of ASU. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. I spent hours poring over Grandma's journal, reading her entries, absorbing her wisdom, her hopes, her fears. The journal became my lifeline, a constant reminder of her unwavering love and support. Through her words, I felt connected to her, as if she were still guiding me, cheering me on. One entry, dated a few months before her diagnosis, caught my attention. It described a hidden box tucked away in the attic, filled with letters and photographs from Grandma's own college days at ASU. A time capsule of dreams, she called it. Intrigued, I ventured into the dusty, cobweb-filled attic of Grandma's small house. After hours of searching, I finally found the box tucked away in a far corner, beneath a pile of old quilts. Inside, nestled among faded photographs and brittle letters, was a worn, leather-bound scrapbook. The scrapbook chronicled Grandma's time at ASU, filled with pictures of her friends, her classes, the campus events she attended. She looked so young, so vibrant, her eyes sparkling with the same fire and determination I saw in my own reflection. As I turned the pages, I felt a connection to her, a shared experience that transcended time and circumstance. One photograph in particular caught my eye. It showed Grandma standing in front of the university library, a book clutched in her hand, a determined look on her face. Beneath the photo, she'd written a caption, "Chasing my dreams, one page at a time." The words resonated deep within me, echoing my own aspirations. Grandma had faced her own challenges, her own doubts, but she'd persevered, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a desire to make something of herself. And now here I was, following in her footsteps, chasing my own dreams on the same campus, inspired by her unwavering spirit. As I flipped through the scrapbook, another item fell out. A small, tarnished key. Attached to it was a tiny tag with a single word engraved on it: Legacy. I turned the key over in my hands, puzzled. What did it unlock? What legacy had Grandma left behind? I searched the box again, but found nothing else that seemed to fit the key. Frustrated, I put the key in my pocket, deciding to investigate later. I spent the rest of the afternoon lost in Grandma's scrapbook, captivated by her stories, her experiences, her indomitable spirit. As dusk settled over Winslow, I closed the scrapbook, a sense of peace settling over me. I felt closer to Grandma than I had in months, as if her spirit were present in the room, guiding me, encouraging me. I wasn't just carrying on her legacy, I was becoming a part of it. And that, I realized, was the greatest gift she could have ever given me. The day I left for ASU, Winslow felt smaller than ever. As I drove away, the familiar landscape of dusty roads and scrubby desert fading in the rearview mirror, a mix of excitement and trepidation filled me. I was leaving behind everything I knew, venturing into the unknown, armed only with my Grandma's journal, her scrapbook, and the mysterious key. Arriving on campus, I was immediately overwhelmed by the sheer size and energy of the university. Students bustled everywhere, their faces alight with anticipation and purpose. The towering buildings, the sprawling lawns, the vibrant atmosphere. It was a world away from the quiet stillness of Winslow. I found my dorm room, a small, sparsely furnished space that felt both foreign and exciting. After unpacking my meager belongings, I took out Grandma's scrapbook and the key, the legacy tag glinting in the afternoon sun. I still hadn't figured out what it unlocked, but I had a feeling it was connected to ASU, to Grandma's time here. Driven by a sudden impulse, I left the dorm and headed towards the university library, the same building where Grandma had stood in that old photograph. As I approached the library, a small, almost hidden door on the side of the building caught my eye. It was old and weathered, its metal surface covered in a layer of green patina. And next to it, a tarnished lock. My heart pounded in my chest as I reached into my pocket and pulled out the key. It fit perfectly. With a soft click, the lock sprang open and the door creaked inward, revealing a narrow, dimly lit staircase leading down. Hesitantly, I descended the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. The air grew cooler, heavier, as if I were stepping back in time. The staircase opened into a small underground room, lined with shelves filled with old books and dusty boxes. It looked like a forgotten archive, a hidden treasure trove of university history. A small wooden desk sat in the center of the room, a single lamp illuminating a faded photograph in a silver frame. It was a picture of Grandma, younger than in the scrapbook photos, standing beside a distinguished-looking man in academic robes. Beneath the photo, a handwritten note. To my dearest Eleanor, may your passion for knowledge illuminate the world with love. Professor Samuel Hayes. My breath caught in my throat. Professor Hayes. I'd heard Grandma mention him in passing, a mentor who'd inspired her love of literature, who'd encouraged her to pursue her dreams. Could this be his secret study? A place where he'd worked, where he'd shared his knowledge with a bright, eager young student from a small town just like me. As I looked around the room, a sense of awe washed over me. This wasn't just a forgotten archive. It was a sanctuary, a testament to the power of mentorship, the enduring legacy of knowledge passed down through generations. And somehow, miraculously, Grandma had led me here to this sacred space to connect with her past and embrace my own future. I ran my fingers over the spines of the old books, their titles whispering stories of forgotten times, of intellectual pursuits, of dreams. Realized I felt a surge of inspiration, a renewed sense of purpose. This was where I belonged. This was where I would chase my own dreams. One page, one discovery, one story at a time. I wasn't just a small-town girl anymore. I was a scholar, a seeker of knowledge, a part of something bigger than myself. I was Grandma's legacy, and I was ready to make my mark on the world.